BIMB Holdings Berhad, or BHB, was established on March 20th, 1997 and listed on the main market of Bursa Malaysia on September 16th, 1997. BHB is the premier Sharia-compliant financial services provider with an authorized capital of 2 billion ringgit and paid-up capital of more than 1.5 billion ringgit. As the holding company of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, Takaful Malaysia and BIMB Securities Sinar Berhad, BHB is committed to uphold the Sharia principles in relation to its business. Despite the tough financial environment globally and here in Malaysia, BHB continued to grow from strength to strength, backed by steady performances of each of its core subsidiaries. This week, we take a look at BIMB Holdings Berhad and its mission in establishing the country as a vibrant international Islamic financial sector. Hello, I'm Rosmadi Zamdali and welcome to Tribute to GLCs, a show where I'll be showcasing government-linked companies and their contributions to Malaysians in general. Now, BIMB Holdings Berhad is an investment holding company for Malaysia's pioneer Sharia-compliant business entities, involved mainly in Islamic banking, takaful and stockbroking. It has gained in strength and stature over the years as a champion of these industries and is well positioned to assist the government's aspirations in establishing the country as a vibrant international Islamic financial center. Let's take a quick look at the company.
As the first Sharia-based banking institution, not just in Malaysia but also in Southeast Asia, Bank Islam has always been in the forefront, heading the role in developing the Islamic banking industry of the nation. Since its incorporation in 1983, Bank Islam has come a long way from assisting the financial needs of just the Muslim population in Malaysia to extending its services to wider and diversified population today. Gratifying its banking for all principle, Bank Islam is also a technical assistance provider in the setting up of several Islamic institutions in the ASEAN region, such as Indonesia, Thailand and Sri Lanka. In the early days, Bank Islam acted as the early arranger for the world's first sukuk issuance of 125 million ringgit in 1990 by Shell MDS Sundaram Berhad. Today, with more than 70 pioneering and refined Islamic banking products and services, Bank Islam presents a wide-ranging Sharia-compliant banking and financial solutions to over 5 million customers.
With us today, it is a pleasure to have Datuk Sri Zukri Samad, the Managing Director of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad and CEO of BIMB Holdings Berhad. Welcome to the show, Datuk Sri.
Thank you very much.
Now, Datuk Sri, Bank Islam, despite its name, is a banking institution that caters to not only Muslims but non-Muslims as well, fulfilling its banking for all principle. So, can you elaborate on the main differences between Islamic banking and conventional banking?
Well, basically, Islamic finance or Islamic banking works on the principle of Sharia or Sharia principle, and among others, the prohibition of riba, speculative, and excessive risk-taking, and all elements that considered as non-ethical, for example, like gambling, smoking, and so on. What it promotes is basically the sharing of profit and loss between the customers and the banks. And operationally, it dictates that every transaction must be supported by underlying assets, i.e., there should be a close link between the financial transaction and the real economic activities.
We also understand that a large number of shareholders in BIMB Holdings Berhad and
Yes.
also Bank Islam's customers, depositors at Bank Islam are non-Muslims. So, can you explain why the non-Muslims are so attracted to Islamic banking?
Yes, we have actually a wide range of non-Muslim customers, ranging from individual, SMEs, and even to big corporates. There are certainly a few, I would say, value proposition of Islamic bank. And first of all, because Malaysia actually aspires to be the global hub in Islamic banking, there is actually a host incentive being sort of given by the government to promote Islamic banking in Malaysia. One which is basically is the discount to the stamp duty. So assuming that if you were to borrow from, say, a conventional bank, a housing loan, where your transaction cost or the stamp duty is, say, 10,000 ringgit, if you take the same financing with Islamic bank, then you only pay 8,000 ringgit. And similarly for corporates, for those companies especially who are listed in the Bursa Saham Kuala Lumpur, they are deemed to be Syariah compliant if at least 2/3 of their financing as well deposit are placed with Islamic bank. So therefore, to be Syariah compliant, actually stock listed Bursa, actually there is certain advantages. One of which basically is that you can actually, or your stock is actually appealing to all investors, whether it's a Sharia or no Sharia fund providers.
I see.
And thirdly, even if you're to borrow, say, a floating rate with Islamic banking, Islamic bank, there is an advantage again with regards to the ceiling interest rate. Assuming that you take a housing loan again, say, from a conventional bank, where you pay, say, 1% plus BLR or PLR. We say PLR now is 5%. Technically speaking, you pay only 6%. Of course, Islamic bank also do offer that facility, but the advantage is that in every transaction that we have, there's always a maximum ceiling rate stipulated in the agreement. So, for example, during the spike of interest rate, during what happened during the 2007-2008 financial crisis, where the prime rate actually went as high as 15-16%. So, if you have to follow the conventional bank, you pay with 15 plus 1%, which is 16%. But in the case of Islamic bank, you may not necessarily pay that long because at the time when you sign the agreement, there is a ceiling rate which is imposed by the bank. If 10%, therefore you only pay 10%. So these are some of the value proposition of Islamic banking actually.
Okay, so can you also elaborate on the bank's strategy of Hijrah to Excellence?
Well, Hijrah to Excellence actually is a 3-year blueprint which we started actually on the 1st of January 2013 until 30th December 2015. It is a continuation of the previous 2 plans that we have, which we started in 2006 with a turnaround plan, followed by the SGP, we call it Sustainable Growth Plan. So basically the objective of this Hijrah to Excellence is actually to strengthen Bank Islam as a premier Islamic bank in the country. And under the plan, there are certain strategic focus that we have, one of which basically is that robust organic growth. Then we have about service excellence, we talk about Sharia innovation, and we want to be the employer of choice. So under all those initiatives, a certain target or KPI has been set. For example, return on equity, we set the target of return asset, in terms of the quality of the asset, and in terms of service excellence, some of the targets set basically is the turnaround time. For example, the customer must not wait more than 10 minutes, things like that. And in terms of Sharia innovation, we always basically set KPI that every year, we want to allow a certain minimum products every year. So at the conclusion of the conclusion of the H2E plan, I must say that I think we did very well, as can be seen from the financial result that we have basically produced. And also, I think certain area which I think we could have done better, but overall, I think we did very well. In fact, for the employee of choice, Bank Islam voted the 3rd most popular graduate employer in banking and finance, and 16th in top Malaysia's 100 leading graduate employers.
Oh, that's wonderful news. Well, we'll take a short break, Dr. Sri. When we return, we'll be talking about the challenges faced by Bank Islam during the current volatility in the economy. Stay with us. Welcome back to Tribute to GLCs. Now, as a pioneer in the industry, Bank Islam believes in the importance of innovation and has produced some of the most innovative banking solutions for the market. Its pioneering status also has given it an advantage by having a strong brand name and franchise that significantly differentiates it from its competitors. Let's take a quick look.
In pursuit to fulfilling its vision as the global leader in Islamic banking, Bank Islam has strived to place itself at the top, bagging numerous accolades in both on the local and global stage throughout the years. However, this does not come easy when in 2005 and 2006, Bank Islam was put to the test when its financial performance got into a critical zone when it declared major losses in both years with an increase of 20% of its non-performing financing, which suffered a staggering 1.8 billion ringgit overall loss. Instantly, remedial measures took place, which includes management restructuring and integrated financial recovery plan with a 3-year turnaround plan. A comprehensive revamp took place revolving around its 5 key components. Various initiatives were also implemented to foster and train the skills of its employees. The rebranded Bank Islam today boasts the widest dedicated Islamic banking in Malaysia, which has established 144 branches with more than 1,000 self-service terminals nationwide. Bank Islam trusts in the significance of innovation and has consistently formulated some of the most innovative banking solutions for the market. A pioneer and a strong advocate of ethical and responsible financing with a solid brand name and franchise, Bank Islam is bullish in creating an engaging image of the purest Islamic bank, which hopes to continue to attract and service its growing and loyal customers.
If you just tune in, you're watching Tribute to GLCs with Dr. Sri Zukri Samad, Managing Director of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad and Group CEO of BIMB Holdings Berhad. Now, Dr. Sri, the bank has consistently lowered its gross impaired financing ratio throughout the years, signaling strong asset quality. So, with the current volatility in the economy, do you expect this ratio to spike upwards? And what are the measures adopted by the bank, to contain this ratio?
Well, generally, given the current state of the economy, I think we do expect that the banking industry as a whole will sort of suffer a slight increase in the non-performing loan, or NPF, so to speak. But at Bank Islam, we have basically come up with some strategy on how to deal with this situation. Internally, we have sort of identified certain areas or certain vulnerable industries that we basically will not go into. Right? And the focus will be more on areas where we think there's a lot of potential. For example, in case of corporate finance or corporate loans, we are looking more of an infrastructure project. And for consumer banking, maybe we'll look at more on affordable housing rather than the mass affluent housing. And of course, we need to beef up our so-called underwriting criteria. We need to make sure that, with the new guideline introduced by Negara on responsible lending, we're also tightening so-called the criteria to make sure that we maintain our good quality assets. And we also internally prepared for the worst situation. We are basically having a new and dedicated department just basically to deal with those financing which is not yet turned financing performing, but showing sign that it's going to turn bad. So we have an early care unit which deal with those situations.
I see. Okay. Now, the consumer banking, represents 74% of the bank's revenue in 2014. So, what are the strategies adopted by the bank to grow this line of business or reduce its reliance on consumer banking?
Well, Bank Islam actually is a retail banking. You are right. As of September 2015, our loan portfolio is about 74% consumer. And I think the aim is basically to balance the portfolio to 30-70, meaning that only 70% consumer and 30% so-called corporate and commercial. So in this respect, what we're going to do, we'll focus a bit more attention, or we'll be most aggressive on the corporate loan side. Again, as I mentioned just now, there are certain areas we think that we still do well in 2016. I think some of the areas, education, healthcare, I think this sector continue to do well in 2016. And as far as the consumer financing is concerned, I think there are certain areas basically will go slow. And again, we want to be sort of supportive by Negara's so-called effort to reduce so-called the household debt.
I see. Yep. Okay, so now since its inception in 1983, Bank Islam, has moved in tandem with the nation's aspiration of becoming a global Islamic financial hub. Now, it has also been at the forefront of innovation, especially when consumer product innovation. So, how does the bank undertake its innovation?
Well, I think innovation basically is key to any organization for that matter. And you have to be on top of it if you want to stay ahead of the curve. So for Bank Islam, it's a key element. And I think, as I said, every year we set a target on how many products that we want to roll out, new product we want to roll out, to make sure that we keep our customer with us. And I'm proud to say that we have been the first in so many areas, especially on the consumer banking side. And today, if you notice that we have a special package for housing finance where we call that payment holiday. Payment holiday, meaning that those customers who choose to actually borrow or finance their house using this package, you are basically allowed to actually pay installment only 10 months in a year. Meaning you can skip the installment 2 months in a year. And I think the most popular here is, based on our experience, that people skip installment in November and December. So I believe in Malaysia's context, January basically is school-going month. Yes. So a lot of our customers basically want extra cash during these 2 months. Yes. So that's going to be popular. Okay. We are also the first bank to actually launch award-winning what is called Tech Mobile Banking, where you can actually do your financial transaction, be it fund transfer, payment of bills, or even prepaid top-up, just by using your phone, and it is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so long as there is actually a telephone line or there is a frequency. And you don't need smartphone for that. Okay. So it can be done actually within 24 hours.
I see.
And see, on the corporate side also, we've been very active. For example, we just launched what we call e-donation. It's part of our CSR program, where what we have done is for those people who want to donate when they go to mosque, especially on Friday, we have come up with a device together with Visa, where we place a special terminal at the mosque entrance. So if you want to donate, what you need to do is just actually flash your card at the terminal, and you just press the amount that you want to donate. Actually, you want to donate 10 ringgit, you just press 10, and what will happen is that the mosque account will be credited straight away.
I see.
So this is part of a contribution to the society, and of course the cost basically is for the terminal is actually borne by the bank.
I see.
And the bank will not charge the most anything. There's even no transaction fee being charged by the bank.
Wonderful. Well, we'll take another short break, Dr. Sri. When we return, we'll take a look at the path Bank Islam plans to take in the future. Stay with us. Welcome back to Tribute to GLCs with Dr. Sri Zukri Samad, the Managing Director of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad and Group CEO of BIMB Holdings Berhad. Now, Dr. Sri, where does Bank Islam stand currently in terms of the Basel III requirements? When do you plan to raise additional capital, and what would the current sentiment hamper your fundraising exercise?
Okay, our risk-weighted capital ratio as at 30 September 2015 is actually 13.2%, which is actually way above the minimum requirement of 8%. So under the Basel III, bank is supposed to increase the capital up to 10.5% gradually until 2019. So from Basel perspective, bank is very well capitalized at 13.2%. But having said that, we have actually put in place a Sukuk program of 1 billion, which is eligible to be classified as Tier 2 capital. Out of the 1 billion, 7 million has been issued. And so our capital position as of December 31st, 2015 was already 15.1%. So we are way above that. So from that perspective, we have no issue.
I see, no issue at all. Okay. Now, the bank has also a very liquid balance sheet, and this should assist in any growth plans. But are there any plans for the company to look for assets overseas, especially in Indonesia, where they have the largest Muslim community in the world?
Well, overseas expansion is always on our agenda, but I think looking at the current economic situation, I think the focus of the bank now is to strengthen our domestic presence and look for the opportunity, maybe not now, but in the future, to actually expand operation overseas. As you currently mentioned, Indonesia actually is a very interesting market with a population of 250 million people and largely are Muslim. It's certainly a market that we are actually aiming for, but not for the time being. Yeah. But having said that, we have actually a presence overseas now in Sri Lanka, where we actually help this particular bank called Amanah Bank to establish to be there. It's the first Islamic bank in Sri Lanka, and we own 15%, and we provide technical support. So we think we have that experience. We are just waiting for the right time to go. But I think for now, the aim is just to consolidate our position over here.
Now, Dato' Sri, in a recent speech by Bank Negara Malaysia Governor Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Akhtar Aziz, I quote, she said, with greater readiness, Islamic financial institutions can strategically position themselves to further realize the true value proposition of Islamic finance, particularly as a financial regime that places emphasis on risk sharing and that further strengthens the link of finance to the real economy. So can you just share with us how well positioned is Bank Islam to realize the true value position of Islamic finance?
Well, the Islamic Financial Services Act, which came into effect in 2013, basically has broadened the role of the Islamic bank, like Bank Islam, where currently, before the establishment of this act, the bank's role is just as a financial intermediary. However, with the new scope given under the FSA, the bank can actually now become, apart from financial intermediary, also investment intermediary. So now under the Act, the bank basically can segregate the deposit that they receive from the customer into either as a Islamic deposit or investment account. Many of those customers basically who's looking for higher return than normal deposit and prepared to take a higher risk, then they can actually place their money in investment account. But as the name suggests, investment account meaning that you take the risk. So the bank cannot guarantee that you will get the return that you want. So what the bank will do is basically will take your money or the fund that you put in, will invest in a venture which is deemed as viable. And whatever profit and loss that comes from the venture to be shared between the two parties, between the investor and the entrepreneur. So in this respect, I'm proud to say that Bank Islam is the first bank to launch what we call RIA, Restricted Investment Account, where we actually work with one of our big depositors who has agreed to place a large sum of money in this so-called investment account. And this money is to be channeled to SMEs, to small medium enterprise, viable SMEs, based on the certain criteria that our investor basically has set. Meaning that they set the risk appetite, which sector they want us to invest money, and of course the return basically will be split between our investor and the entrepreneur. The role of this bank is just like an agent only, meaning that we help the customer, the investors, to screen the viable so-called industry or the viable ventures. We do the collection on their behalf, we submit the report, and for all those roles, we are giving them fees and we don't take a credit risk on the customers. And as you did mention recently that the governor, I think last week, has launched what we call investment account platform, and Bank Islam is one of the 6 banks that has participated. We are the pioneer. So IP is basically a platform where investors who require higher return than the normal bank deposit could place their fund or money with a sponsoring bank. And the bank will then use the fund to finance viable ventures that meet the risk appetite of the investors.
Okay.
Right? So all ventures under this IP will be rated by the rating agency of Malaysia. This is akin to what you call a regulated crowdfunding.
Okay, so let's talk about talent. Talent is a big concern now among GLCs. Shortage of talent now. Since Bank Islam was established in 1983, the only Islamic bank in the country. So now we have what, about 22 Islamic banks? So how? Well, of course, naturally, if I was a new Islamic bank, I would, of course, naturally seek my talent at Bank Islam, knowing that I have the expertise there. So how do you attract and retain talent?
Well, as you recall, I mentioned that we have become sort of the favorite hunting ground for those banks that's looking for the Islamic finance professional. And for us, not only we have to attract, but we need to retain those talent. And the new generation especially realize that money is not everything. So for Bank Islam, we have a policy what we call as grow our own timber, meaning that we tell our staff that whenever there's opportunity for promotion, a new position, that the first port of call for us, basically we look at our own staff. We will not recruit people from outside, but basically we want to give opportunity to our staff to assume that new responsibility. So in this regard, I think human resource has been tasked with the responsibility of identifying those who-called high flyers and share with them what are the career progress in the bank and what are the areas that I think they should go into, and draw up a training program to take to them to where their potential is.
I see. So and then how does, finally, how does Bank Islam give back to society?
Well, we have a lot of CSR program. In fact, CSR, corporate social responsibility, is the bank's DNA, and it is something that we do year in, year out. I think every year we allocate at least 1 million ringgit to basically either build house for the hardcore poor, or basically we repair the houses. And this is a yearly affair. It started way back in 2008 with Kelantan, followed by Terengganu. We rotate all the states, So that's something that basically we've been doing year in and year out. And we've also been very active in education. Together with Binta Foundation, we actually sponsored 13 schools throughout Malaysia. And not only we provide so-called financial aid to the school, but we also do provide for something like a training camp for them, career, so-called guidance for them, and so sometimes we send them to something like courses to build their character.
I see. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sri, for being on the show with us today, and I wish you the best of luck for the future. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Now, that wraps up this edition of Tribute to GLCs. For more information on the show, you can log on to astroawani.com. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Till then, I'm Rosmari Zamdali. Thanks for watching and